The last section is titled Refining Delivery, Rehearsing, and Performing Your Talk. You want to avoid memorizing your presentation. You want to kind of have a memory of what you're going to talk about, like your significant parts. You want to remember how you're going to start, and then the body of your content, and then the conclusion, and of course a meaningful quote. But you don't want to memorize exactly what you're saying. And you don't want to read from your notes because you're going to lose the listener's attention. So make sure that you know it well enough that you don't have to read from your notes. Another reason you don't want to read from your notes is because when you look down at your notes, you don't have eye contact with your audience and you can't really get feedback from them. And that is a huge disadvantage, looking down, losing eye contact, and not really knowing if they're following what you're saying. Extemporaneous delivery is speaking freely without reading from notes or a manuscript after preparing and rehearsing. Impromptu means speaking that's improvised, unrehearsed, and spontaneous. By preparing and then practicing with your notes, you can use them while you're talking to your audience in a conversational manner. Stage fright, of course, I'm sure all of you know what that is. It's nervousness before or during a presentation or an appearance before an audience. Performance anxiety is stage fright. It is the fear of performing before an audience. The flight, flight, freeze response are involuntary reactions of the human body to frightening situations. There is a figure in your book, figure 1212, that offers some tips for combating the fear of public speaking. So I'm going to pull that up. Here are some suggestions. Breathe deeply. Breathing does help. Inhale to a count of 10. Hold this breath to the count of 10. And then exhale to a count of 10. And concentrate on your counting and your breathing. This activity reduces your stress. In yoga, you do a lot of breathing techniques to help with anxiety, and they really do work. Convert your fear. So just use this nervous energy, as they say. Know your topic. If you're prepared, it's going to help with this anxiety. The more prepared you feel, the more hopefully confident you'll be. And then give yourself a pep talk. Take a sip of water. This is why I like visuals. So if you are nervous at first, you can kind of get them to look at the visual to give you time to kind of relax a little bit. Then if you make a mistake, keep going. Don't apologize. You don't have to tell them you're nervous. And just keep going. And feel proud when you finish. Take pride in what you've accomplished, and your audience will reward you with applause and congratulations. So those are some tips when you do have to give a presentation that may help. Before your presentation, there's some things that you can do. Make sure you're prepared, time yourself, dress professionally. Definitely check the room and the equipment. Make sure everything works. Greet members of the audience, and then practice some of the stress reduction exercises that we discussed. During your presentation, start with a pause and present your first sentence from memory. Maintain eye contact, control your voice and vocabulary, show enthusiasm. Skip the apologies. You definitely don't want to get up there and make a mistake and say, I'm sorry, and keep stumbling. If you make a mistake, Keep going. Slow down and know when to pause. And instead of saying just pause. Move naturally. Control visual aids with clickers, pointers, and blank screens. Try not to get off of topic. And summarize your main points and drive home your message. Jerry Seinfeld, comedian, actor, writer, and producer, said, "You're never really comfortable. Even though you may think you are, you really aren't. But in time, you learn how to open, how to sustain, how to pace, and you will get more comfortable." It really does take practice. After your presentation, you should, if you have handouts, distribute handouts. Encourage questions, but keep control. Now, remember, we discussed in certain presentations, depending on the audience, you may not ask for questions. Repeat questions, reinforce your main points. Avoid yes, but answers. And then end with a summary and appreciation. To signal the end of the session before you take the last question, say something like, "We have time for just one more question." As you answer the question, try to work it into a summary of your main points. Then express appreciation to the audience for the opportunity to present.